Are you ready for the ultimate bikepacking weekend adventure? Join us for an unforgettable self-supported bikepacking trip through Southwest Virginia. The Grayson Gravel Pie Bikepacking Adventure travels along the Virginia Creeper Trail, the beautiful gravel roads of Grayson County, Virginia, and the New River Trail. All lodging and camping arrangements are included, along with daily routes and guides riding along with you. This self-supported adventure offers resupply opportunities every 20 miles for your food and water needs. Find out more at graveltraveldirt.com.
You're listening to Mid-Atlantic Gravel, Travel, and Dirt.
Hi, I'm Joey.
I'm Brian.
And I'm Jess.
And I'm Juan.
There you go, man.
There it
You
is.
got it.
Everyone, this is episode 205 of Mid-Atlantic Gravel, Travel, and Dirt. If you're new here, this is the podcast where we talk about gravel bikes, adventure biking, bike packing, bike camping, or just playing bikes. Joining us this episode, Juan Delaroca, the creator and publisher of the Gravel Adventure Field Guide. Welcome, Juan.
The coolest little booklet for your pocket.
Right on. Thanks, guys. I'm psyched to be here. I really appreciate the opportunity to kind of share a little bit more what we've been up to. You probably just saw our first East Coast book, the one we did with Roanoke, and that's led to this conversation.
I've got it right here in my hot little hands, and I set it next to the TV, and I actually like go through it in the evenings and just kind of like pick one. And anyway, we'll get on. We're going to talk all about this wonderful little blue book. Before we get there, though, I got some great discount codes for our listeners on either the Salt Stick website or the JoJ website. When you reach the checkout, use the code LOVEYOUBUY. Takes 20% off of all your items. And over at Cutaway USA, use the discount code GTD20. Take 20% off your order. I'm going to put those discount codes along with the links in the show notes. Juan, have you ever used Salt Stick or JoJ?
I have not.
Yeah, to give them a shot.
Yeah,
that Salt
definitely.
Stick stuff is on point. Jess is a big fan.
I'm a huge fan of the salt sticks. I
I'm a-
actually just ran out of my last one, and I
I
was
have
like,
some at the house if you
Oh,
need
do
some.
you?
Yeah, I do.
Thanks.
I don't have the powder. I have the little.
I like the powder.
Well, I have the little chewy tab.
I'm not allowed to have salt in my life, so
Nope. Joey, you need to go to the doctor.
I'm just kidding.
Is Salt Stick a local company there on the East Coast?
No, they're actually where are they based out of, like somewhere out
I
west.
actually have no idea.
Somewhere out
California.
west. Yeah, something like that. I can't remember. But they are not local.
We are great with our sponsors.
No, Salt Stick though. Noah has they have a
kidding.
presence in Baltimore. I think
Correct.
Noah's in
Correct.
yeah.
Baltimore. Their
Correct.
marketing people are in Baltimore.
Correct.
I actually discovered them out at Gravel Worlds in Nebraska, of all places.
Right on.
Yeah, and this last summer, and they really helped me get through Gravel Worlds. So we've been a big fan of them ever since.
Brian, you helped yourself. That was all in your head.
Well, but it's still, it's nice to have that little. Maybe it could be in your head. I don't know. It could be.
Nutrition's a joke.
Okay. Oh, wow.
Don't need that.
I'm not
Like,
drinking
you need
alcohol
water.
tonight, so I gotta start stuff, like with the seltzer.
You gotta poke somebody with a stick.
Yeah.
Before we get
I
though,
lost 4 listeners.
Before we get any further, I want to give a shout out to Kathleen. Kathleen bought a sticker pack last week. Thank you very much, Kathleen. You can support the podcast too by buying either a t-shirt or a sticker pack. Go to the website, graveltraveldirt.com.
Can you say her last name?
No,
Yeah.
I just put Kathleen in the show notes.
That is a tongue twister.
That is the only thing I put in the show notes.
Yes.
Jess, I'm going to start with you. What's going on this week?
What's today? Wednesday?
Yeah.
Yesterday was a whirlwind of a day. Both Joey and I had really long days.
Mm-hmm.
I was fundraising at school, so I was selling a plethora of popcorn to middle schoolers. Today I walk into the building to actually teach, and there is popcorn all over the place, because they went
You did it.
outside and they were dumping popcorn everywhere. So yeah, pretty normal week.
We had a great ride over the weekend.
Great ride over the weekend. It really sets me up for a good week when we have such a great ride. It was almost about 50 miles. Am I correct with that?
Yeah.
It was
Close to.
great.
Yep.
The roads were nice and flat mostly all the time. A little bit windy, but
Juan, we are all in the throes of training for Croatan Buck 50. We got a big one coming up in March. It's an early season thing down in the eastern or the shore of North Carolina.
Yeah.
I don't know what they call that.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
We all did it last year, but we all did different distances. So hopefully Joey and I this year will stick with 100 and be able to make it in before the time cuts.
I drank. I was the announcer.
Yeah, Joey was the announcer.
Would it be fair to say that that's sort of like your mid-south
Yes.
to the East Coast kind of thing?
Yeah.
Cool.
I think so.
A little more intimate.
Flat and windy and sandy, and there's always something that goes a little haywire, and there's always some sort of giant mud bog that we have to go through, and who knows whether that'll happen. We've got Matt coming in a couple of weeks, don't we?
Next week, yeah.
It's actually the 1 year anniversary of my Crux.
Oh.
I got the Crux the day of that race, and I was like, well, guess I'm riding this.
The week of, yeah.
So
that was
the
her first
week of,
ride.
yeah.
Nothing like doing a big ugly on a new bike.
It was a little like too aggressive, the fit. So
You remember she did like 2 laps around. It starts at a speedway one, and it's pretty cool. So you have like the pit lane is actually pit for people that don't have crews and stuff.
Like a real speedway, like
Yeah.
Speedway.
So yeah, her first ride on her new bike was like 1 lap around that the night before a 100-mile ride. So yeah, but it was a good route this past weekend.
we actually have a lot coming up. We have Monster Cross coming up in a few weeks, which I'm really excited about.
Mm-hmm. I'm going to go to Monster Cross. I'm not going to ride Monster Cross.
Okay.
I don't do the whole mountain bike thing anymore, and apparently that is very much a mountain bikey thing. But my new rooftop tent arrives Friday in just 2 days. So I'm going down with y'all. Carrie and I are gonna go down, and we're gonna hang out while y'all are out doing that Monster Crossy thing that you do. We'll keep the fire going at home, and we'll be ready for you when you get back. Need to warm up.
I'm excited for that.
You gonna start your Overland podcast?
I thought it was like a intimate Valentine's weekend with me and Joey, but you know.
Oh no.
Brian's coming. Harry's coming. Larry's coming. The whole gang is coming.
The whole gang will be there. So yeah, no romance for you in the rooftop tent. Joe, remember I had that flat on that ride. I did do a sealant refresh, and I did find a little hole in my tire, so I got to stick it with a Dynaplug. Pretty excited about that. I was just
That's satisfying.
It is.
You used a Dynaplug today?
A couple days ago. I just love using them though. I almost
very
want
excited to use it for the first time.
I almost want to get a flat sometime.
Oh, jeez.
Okay, Joey, let's do Strava Club real quick so we can get over and talk
real quickly. I was at the doctor's today. I don't know about my 100 Croatan distance.
We'll train you up.
I have a lung disease, a respiratory disease, and then I have
Does it have a name? Hold up.
Yes.
Does it have a name? What is it?
It's called Ratters. It's not like anything major, but like I have a bruised lung on top of it right now and everything. So we got to like see how I end up.
We need to baby him.
Yeah.
Well, all I know is I had to sleep in the guest room last night because somebody was coughing.
Yeah, so we'll see how my lungs do. Also, it was brought to my attention that when I crashed my mountain bike last week, that could have been part of the...
Could be.
I don't know. That doesn't take away from the respiratory acute disease or something that I have, but which is like asthma, same thing. No, I had to say that.
Okay, no.
Also,
It's important to go to the doctors. You're important to advocate for your
Yeah. All right. I'll
well-being.
nail down Strava Club, but yeah, real quick.
Well, I hope you're well. I hope you get.
I'm on a lot of medicine right now.
Okay.
Prescribed? Yeah.
Okay.
Real quick, if everyone doesn't know, Specialized is having a ridiculous sale.
I saw. I was almost going to buy a jacket.
Yeah. Don't buy a jacket.
Say that.
A jacket. I was almost going to buy one.
Before, you cut me off.
I'm sorry.
Just kidding. Before the end of the month, Specialized is running a huge sale before most bike industry companies are right now.
Okay.
There's little bits, but they're going pretty hardcore. It's what's going to happen this year.
No,
like we
they're
talked
gonna
about.
have to. They're gonna have to.
Yeah, Strava Club. I did not make it, but you needed 118.5 to break into the top 100 this week.
Holy
I
moly.
almost breached 100.
I saw that.
We are up to 885, which is doing pretty well. We'll finally hit 1,000. We have Charlie Jenkins from Sherman, Texas, with 129.5. Ian Cronin from Philadelphia with 212.1, and then Nick Marzano from Philadelphia, also with 366 points.
Holy
he was
moly.
he was at the top of the chain.
What do these people do? Like,
Top
what
of
do you do?
Top of the food chain. Nick he was up there with Sonia Pippin.
Yeah, Strava.com/clubs/gravel travel dirt.
Okay, so let's dive right into this little blue book. Because, folks, if you haven't seen this beautiful little nugget, then you've been missing out. I mean, you probably haven't been in your bike shop in the Mid-Atlantic if you haven't seen it. These little pocket guidebooks feature GPS maps of routes, art, short stories, local intel, and even a little bit of history. And that is what the magic that Juan, and Juan, is it safe? Is there somebody else that works with you on this? I think I've seen somebody else's name on this.
Yeah, absolutely. There are three of us all together. Myself, Stephen Beneski, he's the creative director. He does all the illustration work. He hand draws the maps. He has a background in the magazine industry. He worked at Freeze and quite a number of years ago, Ski Publication. And so he and I have known each other for quite some time. We knew each other when we both lived in Boulder. And I happen to now live in Trinidad, Colorado, which is 3 hours south of Denver on the Colorado-New Mexico border. And back in 2019, there was an opportunity to start developing some gravel cycling tourism for the region. And so that's how we linked up and started playing around with the concept of the art. So the guidebooks kind of grew out of that initial work. And so Stephen's been there from the get-go. And then we also work with Justin Baylog with Mixed Media. And he does all of our cinematography. So we do a collection of short films with each guidebook that we release.
Well, we're going to talk about those. We're going to talk about those because I told both these guys, y'all, if you haven't looked at the YouTube videos on the website, you need to go look at them.
The funny thing is, before I forget, we were at Philly and Bike Expo and Rodeo Labs had all this. I'm like, these are all Southwest.
Oh, they had all the other.
Yeah, I'm like, these are so dang cool. But like,
yeah.
And then you know, a few months later, wham, bam, here they come.
So well, that's cool because I'm actually getting a Flanimal in the next week or so.
Oh, nice! Congrats.
Yeah,
Nice.
And Rodeo, Steven and Rodeo have been one of those brands that has been with us since the get-go's. So they've been in every book, and we've got a really good relationship with them. And when I first got to Trinidad, there was actually this was back when Rodeo was doing their adventure rides, or I think what do they call them, like rodeo rides. And there was one in this region, and so I kind of knew that I was sort of in a space where there might be something happening. So Rodeo, yeah, super psyched to be involved in working with them.
So before we get to the book, Juan, tell our listeners a little bit about yourself.
Okay, so yeah, I been a resident here in Colorado since the mid-90s, originally actually from Maryland, total suburbia, Montgomery County there,
Nice.
but left and went out west and ended up in Boulder for a number of years, worked on a couple bike shops, including a pretty well-known one, University Bicycles, down on Pearl Street, and ended up getting an undergrad at CU Boulder in history, so it kind of plays a role in what we do now with the books and it's around that way.
Yeah, I can see that.
And so I was in Boulder for a number of years, Denver, and then in 2016, I migrated down towards southern Colorado, which was frankly a part of the state that very few people were familiar with, knew much about, and found that there was a cycling opportunity. And so, like as I was just mentioning a few minutes ago, we could sort of develop some cycling tourism specific products / objectives around gravel, starting in 2019. And I also have a background in sports marketing as well. I went to Ohio University, got my master's in sports administration there. That's a pretty well-known program. And funny enough, I got into that program for kind of doing things a little bit differently because I had been the director of the Mexican snowboard program that had been developed in the early 2000s. Yeah, total like random sort of scenario. So I've done a lot of work in the snowboard industry as well over the years. And back in the early 2010s, I had written a report talking about changing demographics and being bilingual. My family's from Guatemala actually originally, and So I was starting to, pioneer the space a little bit around, the understanding of where things were kind of going from a youth demographic standpoint. And so out of that became an expert, and through some connections I had, was able to run the Olympic snowboard program for Mexico for 4 years. It was a pretty cool gig, and actually got me into the program at Ohio University, and kind of led to just kind of being entrepreneurial and going in different directions. And so, back in 2016, I actually was wanting to get back into the cycling space, but I didn't really want to do a bike shop. It was just kind of like, I'd like to do something that's, more on the experiential side, more, about facilitating, experiences. And so here in Trinidad, I started doing some small scale events, and, learning all the road system around here kind of led to the ability to start, curating routes and feeding into what became the book. So the book has really been a byproduct of kind of taking the risk of going to a rural town and, making it go, but believing in the bicycle, right? Because the bike, we know it's a economic development tool. We know it works. It totally impacts communities in a really positive way. And with gravel, it was a chance to really kind of talk about the idea of that you could have a gravel bike destination just as much as you had a mountain bike destination or a road bike destination town. So it's been really fun. Yeah, it's evolved.
The economic impact of the bike. It seems like you either get it or you don't. There's no middle ground. I just feel like these economic development folks, they either can grasp it and understand it and truly leverage it, or it's completely off their radar and they have no idea what's going on with that. And you definitely, in all of the books, I see the surf, skate, kind of ski, snowboard influence come through in the graphics and the layout. It's definitely there. So that's a great connect the dots.
Yeah, I think, well, it's interesting. I think cycling has finally gotten into sort of a more of a lifestyle space in the same way that, like, surfing, for example, I think, when the 80s were rolling towards an end, we had that Greg LeMond era. The road cycling scene was very strong as far as like people knowing about the sport. And then mountain biking came on, brought a whole lot more people. Then it kind of came back around again, where Lance and what was happening in the early 2000s, and obviously there's always an opinion with him, but one thing we can say about those years was Lance was he got a lot of people riding bikes. I think we started to see more people commuting on bikes, and so bikes have now become more people have like multiple bikes, like, right, they have a mountain bike, a gravel bike, and a road bike, and I think it's more of a lifestyle sort of scenario. And I think, of course, now if we fast forward to your post-pandemic, it's even more apparent, that the boom, it's waning right now for sure, but there's still a lot more people now that have been, again, exposed to bicycles as far as like a lifestyle choice, and whether it be transportation. And I think gravel has been playing a huge role in that. And I think it's going to continue to do so over the next, I don't know, at least 5 to 10 years. It'll plateau just like everything else, but I think it's kind of hitting the stride right now at a pretty opportunistic overall for cycling, because the bike has just become that much more popular.
I just think that the gravel has allowed the bike to become fun again. Along with the mountain bike. I think the mountain bike and the gravel bike have both allowed the bike in that world a lot more accessibility, and they've allowed it to just be fun again. It's not so much a go out and see how fast you can go, and it's changed the mental image I think people have of the bike. Speaking of bikes, what's in your stable at the moment?
So currently have Bianchi Impulsa All Road. It was the first year of it, but I'm getting ready to switch it up and go with the rodeo Flanimal, which I'm super excited about because I am a big fan of steel. I used to ride Bontrager's for a number of years, and I've always been a big fan of steel, so I'm psyched to go back to that. Full suspension mountain bike wise, I've got a Yeti SP5, and I have a couple commuter bikes as well. I've got a Bianchi Volpe. It's got mustache bars on it.
Nice.
It's got kind of more of that around town. And then I've got an old Chinelli, like a 91 Chinelli. God, what is the model name on it? I can't remember. But it's got a really cool black and white paint scheme on it. And then I've got an original smoked Diamondback Apex as well. So I definitely have, collected my fair share of bikes over the years. And then I have a couple things frame-wise that I'd like to build up again. I got a Bridgestone XO 2. I always wanted the XO1, and I just couldn't get a hold of one. But I got a hold of an XO2 back in the years that I was working at University Bicycles.
So it's probably safe to say your favorite color is Celeste.
I love Celeste, but I wouldn't call it my favorite color.
Is your Yeti that like bluish green?
No, I actually opted for the black one.
Oh,
yeah,
nice.
Yeah. I went stealth. I went stealth.
So the book, the Roanoke book. Now that's a new addition to the lineup, and you'd mentioned others. What's the complete rundown? What are the other field guide books that are out there?
So we've now done a guide in Trinidad, Colorado. That was number 1. Patagonia, Arizona was our second. Bend, Oregon, which was something that came together because somebody had come to Trinidad and participated in the Rad Dirt Fest, which is a lifetime event the first year, which was 2 years ago. And they got and each registrant was given the book. So she took it back, and that's how that led, because that was really kind of blew us away a little bit, because Bend's a pretty, well-established outdoor rec industry town. And, prior to that, Trinidad's a town of 10,000. Patagonia was 900. And so it was a big, crossover there. So Bend really kind of like accelerated things, but we were also been talking to a lot of different destinations, and then followed that one up with working with Envy in Ogden, Utah for their Grodio event, Pueblo, Colorado, San Luis Valley here in Colorado. If you're not familiar with the San Luis Valley, it's basically everything that is south central Colorado. It's a huge, huge swath of land with a ton of diverse terrain, super cool. The Rio Grande flows through there. The Sangre de Cristo Mountains. And then we've also, Roanoke was our first East Coast book. And we had started talking to Roanoke pretty early in the year. This last year, 2022, was really, really fast, because we hit the ground running with Patagonia. Early on, it was definitely apparent to me. I was like, I feel like there's something here that can be replicated. It can, obviously we have towns and destinations that are similar in terms of their history, whether they were like a coal mining town or a lumber town or a railroad town. But, everybody's got their own story to tell. And I think that's what we try to do with each book, is to connect those dots where the story of that place, its evolution, and how it has come to be the place that it is now, is a little bit more meaningful. And of course, when you're pedaling around, you're thinking about that stuff, you're looking around, you're seeing it, and you're kind of starting to feel it. So it's been a really great response with those 7. And so for this year, we've actually got 4 destinations coming up. We're currently working on Las Cruces, New Mexico, which I'm really excited about, because it's just a very different sort of experience as far as a bike destination goes. We'll follow that one up with Fruita Palisade in the Grand Valley, Mesa County in western Colorado, so Grand Junction area. And then Bellingham, Washington, which is another really cool book that we're really excited about, because Bellingham's just got a lot of great energy around the bicycle in terms of its integration into their community. And then we're doing another one in Colorado for a county called Huerfano, which is just north of the county that I lived. It's also got an amazing amount of dirt road and access to it. And I think people are going to get really, really surprised and enjoy it. So, cool. And then we have like 20, I think it's like 20 other destinations that are kind of queued up, where we've started conversations. Things may or may not happen. We realize that with some of these books, it may take up to a year before somebody pulls the trigger on it, because we aren't inexpensive. And so, you got to, have the funds. But, the thing is there's a lot of places that are now in a position to take advantage of things that, like the American Recovery Act, which, a huge amount of money was set aside for recreation and tourism specifically, again, a byproduct of the pandemic. So there are communities that are tapping into that. So we'll typically work with, an economic development person, maybe a chamber of commerce, maybe a tourism bureau, visitor convention bureau. But a destination is looking at it from both a tourism perspective as well as an economic development perspective as well, to some degree.
So the thing about this little book that first caught my eye was the form factor. It's so familiar. I mean, we all carry the little field notebooks in our pockets. So it was almost like the form factor immediately like drew me in. Describe for folks what they're going to find when they open up one of these little books. What's in there?
So you're going to find some great artwork. Stephen, as I mentioned, is the illustrator behind all of the books, and we really, try to connect, the idea of like, what kind of animal actually lives there, and what kind of animal would you possibly run into, and to, what are some, quirky little things about a town that, you can kind of add as an element. So there's definitely an artistic, art forward sort of perspective when you first, get the book in your hand and you just look at the cover. And as soon as you go in within the first couple of pages, you'll see a large map that'll have all the routes shown in like a regional perspective. And then you'll start diving into stories, and the idea is to kind of set up the place, and but also do it from the perspective of a cyclist. I kind of always, being a history major, I always was, doing research on things, and I really did think of these guys' books as sort of like what would I want to have if I was to show up in a place, and so that really kind of, informed the initial sort of layout. And then by the time you get to the routes, there's usually about 10 to 12 routes of varying distance. We'll break them down 25 miles or less, 25, 50, 50, 75, 75 to 100, 100 plus. And, the idea, again, is it's sort of like, I don't know if everybody, I'm going to date myself, but choose your own, adventure kind of stories that you would, decide, which, and so this is the idea here is that you can choose which of these routes you want to do, if you want to do them on one trip, or if you live there and you want to, conquer one of them over, a few months period of the year, or if you want to use it for training, or if you just want to go hang out with your friends, go bikepacking. The idea is for anyone to be able to use it in a way where it fits what they want to do on their bike.
Yeah. It's just, it tells a little story, with all of the way that it's laid out. I mean, it's brilliant. It's genius. How long does it actually take to produce one of these, to actually like cover to cover? How long does it take you to pull all that together?
So we're at a 3 to 4 month period.
Okay.
Takes us 3 to 4 months. Yep.
And I noticed you got some local intel from our like folks like Gordon Wadsworth, and the Werners were a help. That.
Yep. Yeah. In every community we've had, we've worked with someone, because the thing is I live in Colorado. I don't live in, all these other places. And, a lot of times there's always people who are doing the hard work, right? Like they're the ones behind the scenes that are like either putting on events, or the ones, actually figuring out routes or getting other people excited on their bikes. We're working with a guy right now in Las Cruces, Matt Mason, who developed a monumental bikepacking loop. It's a 300-mile route that connects the 4 sections of the Oregon Mountains Desert Peaks National Monument. Like it's a huge, daunting sort of, ambitious trip to take on, and this dude like figured it all out, and now anybody can do it. So there's always going to be those sorts of people that are out there doing those things, and we definitely see ourselves as being a part of that. We hear a lot of the spirit of gravel, but I think the spirit of grassroots. Like it's important to acknowledge, because it's a lot of times it's hard work, and people get when things become popular and, money comes in and, people get pushed aside, and, sometimes that work doesn't get, recognized. So I'm certainly conscious of it because, I've been in a small town, going through an evolution, and I'm always just like, I just want to make sure that we always acknowledge that local person who's actually getting it done.
I'm still kind of like in awe that you fit so much into this such a small space. There's so many routes, but then you've also got all of the fauna. You've got the Civilian Conservation Corps,
The weather.
You got their story. You got the weather. You've got photos. You've got stuff in here on bike fishing. It's just so much crammed into this little format. I mean, it's just brilliant, just absolutely brilliant.
It's hard sometimes too, man. Sometimes there's places that just have so much cool stuff, but you got to like narrow it down because you only have 64 pages. And you know, Steven's really like, I mean, the having worked in the publishing industry, I mean, he can lay things out really efficiently and really well and be creative. You know, how we can get the most information in, and so. But yeah, sometimes some stuff can't all make it in, unfortunately.
Now, were you able to actually explore or ride any of the routes that were in this book when you were out?
Yeah. I was there over the summer, the month of July, and then was back out there again in August.
Nice.
And I mean, I didn't ride every single route, but yes, I was definitely really psyched to check out quite a few things that made it into the book. And, you know, and a lot of it had, you know, the intel coming in from locals like Gordon. There was also a guy named Matt Ross over with Franklin County Parks and Rec, who was really, really helpful as well. And then Christine McCormick is who we worked with at Visit Virginia's Blue Ridge. And she rides as well. So yeah, you know, that was a really cool thing too. Was Roanoke's got a fantastic local cycling scene. Like people are really, really, really genuinely into the sport, and you can just see that people love living there.
Now there's so much history in when you think of the Blue Ridge. There's so much history, so much opportunity for outdoor escape. When you were putting this together and the time that you spent on here, what was the coolest little nugget that, you know, you personally discovered about the region while you were putting all this together?
You know, that's, you know, because again, I grew up in Maryland. So, you know, I was already familiar a lot with the history. But I think, you know, there's just like the little, like when you dive deeper, like for example with the Civilian Conservation Corps, because there's projects out here in my county that were related to that program in the 30s, and you know, I like when you find those little you know bits of information that you just didn't realize, and it just adds to your mind expansion, your awareness sort of. Another one was the macadam roads of the county and how they were connected to road building that was just coming from England, and you know that originally they were gravel roads because that was part of like the surface that was laid down sort of thing, and then connecting with the rolling aspects of how you had to just follow the lay of the land in order to navigate the land, and that's how a lot of the roads. So I love learning those sorts of things, and so those were things that came through in the book as well, and I think that's expanding of my awareness, because I felt like I knew quite a bit about the area just because having grown up and being in school, we talked often about that area. So
sure. Now here, probably the most important question I'm going to ask you tonight: when are we going to be able to get the cover as a print? Because I noticed on the website you sell them. So
yes. So it's funny. You're probably right that we haven't put up the print yet for the Roanoke book, and that's a note I'm going to make. I'll be a phone call later this evening. We'll have that up. But it's thanks for the reminder. But we're just so busy sometimes, because it's a lot of work to get these books, one book done. But right now we've got multiple going on, and we're trying to do it all, because it's we got merchandise opportunities, and we've got these short films that are kind of becoming really fun for us as well. So we're putting one together right now for Las Cruces, and so we're going in all kinds of directions. But it's been really rewarding and fun to work on this, because get to go to some cool places and ride my bike.
Well, the little bear on the cover with the flared bars and the little front bag. I mean, if there's anything, when you think about Blue Ridge, in my mind, that cover couldn't have hit the nail more on the head. That little bear sitting there. So,
So the bear was from a real sighting. We were on the Parkway, and we were shooting at sunset and coming back down, and we ran into the cub and the sow, and that's where the bear inspiration came from.
I did a tour out there, and we did Blue Ridge from one end to the other. And I think the year that I did that, we counted 19 bear sightings on that.
Is this your full-time job?
It is now, yeah.
Oh, cool. Oh,
Nice.
okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
So you made this into a career.
We have officially launched this as a business, and we work with destination management organizations. They're the ones that will fund the production of the book and the film. They go together as a package, and then so an initial run of the books, they are available for free, but it's sort of like when those are out, they're out. And there's a little bit of exclusivity to this. Like, we want them to be, a little bit of something like, really make an effort to get a hold of one of these, because you're not going to have tens of thousands of these. So, a print run typically is just under 10,000, and they get distributed within a destination. So a portion of those books would remain in Roanoke, and then the other books are distributed throughout the feeder markets, essentially, and they're at bike shops. And it's great because bike shops love them, right? Because people come in and it's something to talk about, right?
Sure.
Like it's engaging. Like, they get people hanging out at the shop, and going back to the skate, snow, surf element, in shop culture, that's how the sports were, communicated, and that's how people were informed about the lifestyle and knew about the trends and knew about the things that were happening. So this idea that people are in the shop talking about what's happening in gravel is a good thing, because it's just going to help it grow, and so it goes back to that grassroots element. So that's a really cool component about the books being at the shops. And the shops are great. They're psyched because they're soaking out their best customers. I tell people all the time when I walk in, I'm like, so I got something pretty cool for you. And when at first I'll get a little bit of what has this guy got, and then as soon as I open up the page and I go to that first map with all the routes on it, and people are just like, wait, what is? Yeah, this is something interesting and different. So they're psyched because they're turning on their customers, and I spoke to a shop in Tucson earlier today, and we talked about the guidebook that we did in Patagonia, and they were like, it's been great for our beginner cyclists, because they're just like, this is showing them that they can participate and that they can come into this. They don't have to do the 100-mile route, but they can do that 20-mile route, and they can participate in this, and they're interested. And they were like, it only reinforces our friendships with our customers. So those books that go to the bike shops in a surrounding area, I feel like, are really influential in sort of getting people's attention. And then we'll also sell some books, because what we're finding is folks who maybe get one of the free ones, they'll go ahead and order one of the other ones that we did in another town. And it's because they want to collect them at this point.
Yeah, I want one of each in my store.
That'd be nice to have.
Yeah.
It'd be real nice.
Like a display set.
Yeah. Yeah. And so if I missed that first run, and I ran to my bike shop, and then
I brought you the first one in my store.
You actually did, Joe. Joe took care of me. So how can folks get a hold of a book if they missed out? Did they just go to the website?
Yes, go to graveladventurefieldguide.com, and you can click on the guidebooks themselves, and it'll have a link to purchase one. They're $11. Super reasonable.
Bargain.
Yeah, I mean, they're reasonable, and they're fun, and and the other really cool compliment that I've had on these books is young kids will even comment and say, this is something cool. Like, I feel like, and I feel like that's not always easy, right? Like, you can't always get a wide swath of generational age difference always agreeing with something, but
sure.
The book totally works for a teenager on up to somebody who's approaching 70 plus years old. So yeah, it's been fun.
Now that's the website's also where folks can go to see the short films, right?
Yes,
the one for Roanoke, that was so much fun. And I started playing through some of the other ones. It's a lot of fun. Talk to us a little bit about the creative process behind those.
So Justin Baylog is who we work with. He has a project called Shared Territory. He also does a lot of film work for bike industry brands. He's just got a really great style of working. He's super efficient and creative. So, he can go into projects with a pretty good eye and idea around shots. Steven, of course, with his creative background, he can storyboard things. So we really do put a lot of thought into the short films. We script them. We try to connect them to what we actually wrote in the book. But we also want to be irreverent. We also want to be fun and not take it so serious. And so that's why they have that little bit of quirky sort of, take on them. I think it's fair to say that Wes Anderson was a creative inspiration behind them. And we kind of stumbled upon it. So Trinidad, Colorado was the first book that we did and that short film. And we just we were able to get a local comedian who lives here in town, Nathan Lund, to be our character in it. And he's fantastic. He's great on camera, and he nailed it. He also worked with us on the Pueblo book as well. So we did a Pueblo top 10, kind of a riff off of Dave Letterman with Pueblo, and he participated in that one. So we've been really lucky to work with some folks, but we've also taken that marketing, advertising sort of approach to the short films, and really try to put together something that's well shot, well edited, color, and the team that we have right now is everybody's. I wouldn't say perfectionist, but we all care about what we do, and we care about the craft, and we want to see something really cool come out. And so they've been a lot of fun as well. Like, that's probably been one of the more fun aspects of the whole project, is being able to do these short films, because film's just such a fun medium to work with.
Well, I'm going to have a link to in the show notes and in the show description for folks to go directly to the website, and I'm going to strongly encourage them to also go find the videos for each that are associated with each of the books, and start with the Roanoke one. That's my favorite. That's a lot of fun. It really just clever, well done, and really hit the mark on promoting the book without actually promoting the book, if that makes any sense. I don't know if it does or not. Juan, you want to stick around for this or that's with us?
Sure.
We're going to dive right into those.
These get wild.
Well, sometimes they do. Sometimes they don't. The order of operation. Juan, since you are our guest, I am going to give you the opportunity to answer first. Jess, you will get the opportunity to answer second. I will chime in third, and Joey will muck it all up. Does that sound good?
Perfect.
Okay.
Perfect.
First item this week on this or that, a paper map or a digital map?
Paper map.
Paper. Jess?
I prefer no map, and I prefer the guide of my husband to talk me through exactly where I need to be at all times. If Joey's not there, I don't have a little computer.
Uh-huh.
I don't find any new rides. I just go up and down the trail. Well,
you are really good at either riding a route backwards or forwards.
Exactly.
And
I just stick with the group. Rides well with others. That's what should be on my t-shirt,
I actually like that. I like that a lot.
Rides well with others.
That's perfect. I know Joey planned all those routes for over the weekend and sent them out on Ride GPS. And I'm a very digital guy, and I had them on my phone, and every once in a while Joey would be like, Brian, which way do we go up here? Oh, you did twice, more than twice. But I do love the feel of a paper map. I'm old school. I've been doing this for a long time. An old guy. I remember when you used to have a little piece of paper.
Do you remember when you had to go on MapQuest and print out this book and remember? Do you remember that? When we had to print out directions from MapQuest?
Yeah, but I remember scratching them on the back of a piece of paper and having to fold the little piece of paper over in a cue sheet and fold it in the quarters.
His friend Christopher and Columbus.
Yeah. I go way back. Joey?
I'm mixed. Because with digital, in a sense, I was able to plan some bike routes. Mm-hmm. But I'm a millennial. I mean, when I was in Boy Scouts, it was all paper maps, orienteering. There wasn't any of that. Mm-hmm. I navigated from Bozeman, Montana to Solomons, Maryland with road atlases
Nice.
when I was 21, like
Nice.
multiple times on road trips. So there's something to be said about that. At the same time, my friend Jeff was navigating through Yellowstone and had it upside down. And we got lost in the park for 2 days
Well, there's
because of a blizzard and an upside down map. And
lots of worse places to get
yeah,
stranded.
no, it's actually pretty bad.
Nice.
Yeah, there's animals.
Kind of a mixed bag is what I'm hearing. I do like my digital for planning, though. Hey, Juan, half
Yeah.
pants in the winter or full pants in the summer?
Probably. Well, it's funny. I actually end up wearing jeans a lot in the summer, so I'm probably I kind of already go towards the pants in the summer, I guess. And it's only because like I'm working on stuff here at the house. Like I've got house projects always going on, and never want to cut my legs. I've done that in the past.
You grew up though in this East Coast humidity, so you know what that
Yeah.
full pants in the summer swamp is. Jeff?
Yeah, but I don't live there anymore, so like
Yeah?
that's so yeah. But I don't really wear half pants.
I just like saying half pants, Jess.
I wear nothing. I don't wear any. I have no. I
What?
have no buttons
Wow.
or zippers in my wardrobe.
Lululemon was
I
not
wear
an option.
a Lululemon spandex with an oversized sweater every single day for work. So like I don't think my life should be constricted to pants or like buttons or zippers.
No, I agree. No pants.
No buttons on pants. That's the joke at school. Like Jess doesn't wear anything with buttons. I was like, nope, my life is good.
I am going to go fully with I cannot stand pants. I would wear half pants all the time if I could get away, and especially as mild as this winter has been here. I'd go with the half pants, Joey.
Why restrict myself?
No, well, okay,
Why
you do you.
why give my legs
do you, Lululemon.
constraints?
That's tough. I like a good pair of pants. I mean, if it wasn't like for swamp ass here in the middle of summer,
Mm-hmm.
I would like pants all year.
You even
Really?
wear those little half pants when we go riding in the winter. Like you,
Oh, three
he
quarters.
always has those little pants, right?
love the way you held
little
your hand up.
pantaloons.
You're like-
Like this is how much leg is showing of Joey's, and he's like, I hate riding in pants.
They're 3/4 like thermal
Oh,
when it's
oh.
30 degrees.
Oh, you wear your capris.
Yeah.
Okay,
And then his high socks, and then he has like this much of his leg showing.
I love it.
I didn't know I was going to get made fun of.
It's
Well,
not. I
you
love
should-
your little legs.
This is the 205th episode. You should know that.
Careful,
by
Juan. We have 2 more questions and you might get made fun of.
Phone camera or a digital camera?
Ooh.
You like that one, huh?
I'm gonna say phone because that's just it's way more convenient. I want a nice digital camera, but I'm more of a iPhone camera guy.
Ooh, Jess.
That's my dog, Blake. Well, whatever Joey takes pictures with me with, it's fine. Like Joey can use his cell phone to take my Instagram videos, or Joey can use his fancy camera to take the TikToks. It doesn't matter.
The best camera is the one you got with you. And
Exactly.
You
And that's-
always
I always have the
your
best
phone.
cameraman. I have the best mechanic. Like
Okay.
I have the best horse navigator. Like I'm very sorry, all of you. Like you just don't live my life. Like
Well, and then you also have enough tools that don't really ever have to take a bad photograph.
Mm-hmm.
exactly, because usually I use the back of Brian's truck to like film the get readies with me on a
I
bike
think you
ride.
thought like all the editing, Lightroom,
Yeah.
filters.
I don't use that, but if I
you
did,
just do the thing.
I just do the thing.
You could take a bad picture and fluff it up if you wanted.
Yeah, absolutely. Joey, which one do you go with?
I actually really like my regular camera,
Mm-hmm.
and I switched to like a mirrorless camera for riding,
Mhm.
which makes it more. It's not 5 pounds and
It doesn't.
$1,000.
I've watched the last couple of weekends when you've had that, and it doesn't seem like it's like bothersome. It's
Oh,
like
no,
heavy,
it's
and
It's out of the way, and my picture quality is different because of it.
Yeah. I was gonna say, they're really good.
But that being said, like the new iPhone's 45 megapixels.
Yeah, it's hard to beat.
Like you don't get depth of field, like as much depth of field or any of that stuff. But like, yeah, you can put that in your pocket.
Mhm.
Everyone's got a good camera now.
Yep.
You basically buy the new iPhone for the camera, I think.
Probably.
And if you don't use an iPhone, I don't trust you. Just kidding.
Don't be that one Android user in the group chat. Okay, last this or that, a phone call or a text?
Phone call. You know why? Because sometimes texts, people don't really like, they misinterpret what you're saying. So I'm more of like, hey, especially if it's something that's important, I'd rather make the phone call, even if it's for 20 seconds, like real quick, like whatever. I always feel better about phone call over text. I think there's room for error with text.
Jessica?
The only person I call is my mom. And then I called Joey if like it was emergency. But it's anything, it's either a text or a FaceTime.
That's funny because the only person I ever call is your mom.
Yeah. Ha ha. But I don't like when my mom answers her phone from her golf cart because you got all the wind in the background. So, she's like, I'm at pickleball, Jessie Ann. So it's really, I like FaceTiming people. I like seeing Joey's face in the middle of the day. So,
okay.
So
that wouldn't even, I didn't add that in the mix.
FaceTime. I use FaceTime more than calling, but I use text the most out of everything.
Okay.
When people call me and they usually don't call me, I get super paranoid that something's wrong.
So I prefer the text because I do like to speak in meme. That's I talk in meme with Joey and with Jerry.
Yes.
And that's the most fun we have. That's the highlight of my day is finding the best meme to send to Joey. Joey, where are you at?
I'm a horrible texter. I do prefer calls.
Yeah.
That way I don't say something stupid or forget or anything. If you really need something and you know me,
sometimes I don't have the energy to text.
Yeah, I've gotten so bad recently. I hate texting. I will voice the text or I will call.
Oh, I voice text all the time.
I don't feel like typing.
Yeah, no,
I'd rather just call someone again.
It's so labor
making
intensive.
its rounds again.
It's so labor intensive to tap things with your thumbs.
Also, 2 nights ago, I had 28 missed texts from Brian.
Well, yeah, because I was watching the McDonald's fight.
A 10-minute span. So
Juan, I was in a McDonald's the other day, and there was 2 elderly women fighting with each other in the McDonald's, and it went on for almost 45 minutes. They were just yelling at each other. I wish the millennials had the stamina
play-by-play
of that. It was brilliant.
You should have just called me.
I should have. I just shut up. That was a lot of fun.
It was a lot of text.
It was a lot of text. Well, I had nobody else to talk to.
Sometimes people text me to get to Joey. They're like, can somebody what is Joey getting off of work? I don't know when Joey's getting off of work. Text him. I don't know.
I think it's funny now you ask me things about Joey. You text me
did Joey go to the doctor's today? Yeah.
Yes. No, maybe. I don't know. How am I supposed to know? Well, listen, thanks for playing along with that one. And thank you for joining us on this episode. Man, it was fun to hear about that little book. I love that little book. I think it's pretty obvious. Everybody can tell.
Oh yeah.
I
think I gave away my second to last copy today.
Ooh.
Yeah.
You need to put some in reserve.
Because not everyone that needs them is getting them.
You need to get them out there. People need to see this piece of art. That's my opinion. You need to get out there. If somebody would like to borrow my copy, they can.
Gabe came in today to get some wheels, and I gave him one of the last ones.
Nice.
So he deserved it. I saved it for him too.
Perfect.
Well, I will say that we did get a very positive reaction in the Mid-Atlantic region and have already started conversations with some different communities. So the hope is to be bringing another gravel adventure field guide to the region.
I feel like Pennsylvania would need 10.
Pennsylvania would need a bunch of them. Loudon, but you need to get in there before they pave over all those gravel roads.
Yeah, long live gravel.
My friend Kelly would like one too. Up there, she probably has a lot of birds where she rides.
Yeah.
Up in the Maine area.
So Loudon, I've ridden in Loudon. I love the riding there. Is that a real threat at this point? Is paving? Yeah. I mean, I know it's a very, close part of the Northern Virginia metroplex.
Mm-hmm.
And there's obviously more people are moving out there, but I was kind of encouraged that there might be some preservation happening there.
Oh yeah, Casey Clark. You probably know Casey's name. Casey's working really hard at America's Roads, trying to preserve that gravel. But wow, that's just going to be a tough road to hoe. Honestly, it's They're gonna slowly but surely, I think, want to take that over with pavement, but we'll see. We'll see. You know, it is more environment. A natural surface is much more environmentally friendly than slapping asphalt.
I'll chain myself to every road out there.
Oh,
Yeah.
totally.
Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah.
Totally. Well, and now they have, an economic, value. Like, it's interesting. I've been some folks in West Virginia, they've made a big push for outdoor recreation. And they went out and mapped all their waterways, right? Like, so they have all of the boatable, play-worthy portions of the entire state mapped out as far as how many miles that you can do that. And I was like, you got to do the same thing with your gravel roads, man. Like, because it's like it's in exactly the same sort of asset that you can utilize to, bring tourists into your town, maybe tap into remote workforces, maybe attract some employers, maybe they're all looking for those cool places so that they can have happy people working for them. And what we've definitely seen with the pandemic is that people are making life choices because they want access to outdoor rec.
Absolutely.
Really,
Yeah,
at the end
absolutely.
of the day. So yeah.
Well, one more time, Juan. Thank you again.
Thank you
very much. Coming up
Thanks so much.
on some
Yeah,
future
you bet.
shows.
Thank you. I really appreciate it.
Coming up on some future shows, we got Matt Hawkins. We were talking about going to do a little Croatan buck
Be next week
update. James Mammoth Endurance Gravel, got him coming up.
Oh yeah, he's been
pretty soon.
Yeah, he's been all
Week
over the
after
social
that.
media.
Yep. And it is about time for us to shut this thing down. Thanks, everybody, for listening to this episode of Mid-Atlantic Gravel, Travel, and Dirt. If you enjoy the podcast, maybe consider joining us on our Patreon family. Joey, how can folks get in touch with us?
GravelTravelDirt.com. Come in my store and touch me. And our Instagram is at Mid-Atlantic GTD.
And Juan, how can folks get in touch with you?
GravelAdventureFieldGuide.com or on Instagram at GravelAdventureFieldGuide.
And I can recommend that. That's a great follow.
It is.
Mid-Atlantic Gravel, Travel, and Dirt is recorded this week from right here in Joey and Jess and Blake's kitchen all the way out to Trinidad, Colorado. Did I get that right?
Yes.
Cool. Thanks for riding along. Till next time, do good, be nice, go slow, respect others.
Love you. Bye.
Love you. Bye.
Love you. Bye.
Take care.